Now, Wynne, we'll move on. Is it true that Asians vote conservatively, and if so, why?
Well, yeah, there has been that trend. But, again, this is a big country, just like Australia is a very big country. So you will find that there are regional differences, and the Asian community in the Northeast would do something different than in the Southwest or in California, where you have a more pervasive, let's say, California factor, whereas people here in the Northeast, depending on if they live in a big city, would be more in touch with the fact that so many jobs disappeared during the Bush administration, while they said that the unemployment rate was not bad. So it depends where you are and what view you get. There is a tendency, I've noticed, not just with Asian population, but with newly immigrated population. They sometimes want, this is my interpretation, in an effort to want to belong, a new arrival might take what they consider the pulse of the country and sort of do what they feel other Americans do. And one of the things that the Republican Party has been, up till this election, masterful at, is passing themselves off as the American way. They do it all the time. Again, this wrapping themselves in the flag. And so if you just arrived here and you don't know all of the nuances and all of the tricks yet of the neighborhood, you might fall for that and think, oh, well, if I want to appear more American, I'll be a Republican. When in fact, being a Republican is not synonymous with being an American at all, especially now. This Bush administration, if they were ever to be held accountable for what they've done to this country, they could set the Republican Party back 100 years. They may have already.
You're on 100.7 Highlands FM with me, Miss M. On Experience the Divine today, I'm talking to Wynne Alexander, and we're talking about all the issues to do with the recent election, and we're talking politics, US politics. The time is 20 minutes to 5. We'll have a quick break. I'll play another track, and then we'll come back and we'll talk some more and talk more about the issues. Multicultural America.
Oh, yes. He's perfect. He's perfect. Just like Tiger Woods. And frankly, just like a lot of people, most people are of mixed heritage. In the world today, more and more people are of mixed heritage. And frankly, including me. And I think it's the better way to go. You don't want to spin that bloodline too much. I always used to marvel, even when I was a little kid, there were DAR types, that stands for Daughters of the American Revolution, and people who were very snooty about being very high wasps and having all this so-called culture and tradition here in this country. But the fact is, however far they could trace their roots back, this is a very young country. So what does it mean? I mean, there are people in, Paris is a 1,000-year-old city. What does it mean if a country's only 276 years old? That's like a drop in the bucket in some other places.
Yeah.
The wall of China is older than that, So I always used to marvel at the snobism and the elitism of something which, by the way, if they can trace their lineage back, to 1607, I would say to you, well, what happened in 1606? Because they don't know. And, the reality is when you look at the old faces of Europe and the old faces of many of the continents, these are faces we don't see that much in America. There is a new way when different peoples get together. There's a new way that people look, and yes, I definitely think that Obama is representative of the new wave, not just for the United States, but for the rest of the planet.
Now, Wynne, how did you feel election night?
Well, I was worried for weeks and months leading up to it, and I was worried until 9:45 in the evening here in the United States, because I figured they was going to steal it again. They stole the last two, and I was horribly afraid that they were going to steal this one too. And what I did was, around 9:50 in the evening, I turned to Fox News. Now, Fox is notoriously, horribly, might I add, stupidly right-wing. And I was watching Fox, and I noticed that all their commentators, their eyes and faces got long. And then they said a line. They didn't even report it correctly, typical Fox. They said, informed sources in the McCain campaign say they do not see a path. Now, what the McCain people really said was they do not see a path to victory. But that's not what Fox first reported. They reported they do not see a path. And I went, wait a minute. Those long faces do not see a path. This is it. We've won. And so around 9:45, I felt better. I felt like, wow, maybe they're not going to steal it. And in fact, they didn't.
Now, Wynne, what do you think are the most important issues that President Obama needs to change? Let's say the most important two issues. I know there'd be many, but we're short for time.
Are you saying the most important two issues?
Well, we're pressed for time, so we can't. There's many issues that I'm sure we can discuss. But if you could just think of, say, to you, in your opinion, what do you think the two most important issues he needs to change, or fix up or work on?
Well, clearly, unfortunately, what this administration and the money folks of the world have done to the economy is just a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, unfortunately, the two answers to it, I would say, would be, unfortunately, number one, became the economy. But frankly, I wish that he would have done big investigations into all of the ways the Bush administration subverted the Constitution of the United States. And I would like to still see that be the number two thing, and to get us back into compliance with the Constitution, and to correct all of the horrible wrong of industries that were deregulated or improperly taxed, what the oil companies did in terms of getting away with a windfall and no windfall profit tax. It's just amazing.
All right, just hold that thought for a second, Wynne. We've got to take a quick break. We've got to hear from some sponsorship announcements, but we'll come back in just a second.